Welcome to Terror at Collinwood. Before we get to the show, I have some news for you. I'll be returning as Penny Dreadful to Monster Expo's Halfway to Halloween Massacre on Saturday, April 25th and Sunday, April 26th at the Seaport Inn and Marina in Fairhaven, Massachusetts. Monster Expo is a horror-themed pop culture exposition with curated artists, creators, movie makers, vendors, and special celebrity guests. In addition to Shilling Shockers, DVDs, comics, and photos, I'll have some items from my personal monster collection available at my table, so come to Scarehaven, Massachusetts on April 25th and 26th if you dare. By the way, if you're a Terror at Collinwood listener, I will have some stickers and postcards just for you. I'm going to put those aside. Those are for you. So come to my table. If you tell me I listen to Terror at Collinwood, I will slap a sticker into the palm of your hand and you will be branded for all eternity. Now then, in Dark Shadows 60th anniversary event news, 2 new guests have been added. James Hall, the original Willie Loomis, will be there. Mr. Hall played Willie in 5 episodes before John Carlin took over the role. In addition, Rebecca Stabb, who played Daphne Collins in the 1991 Dark Shadows revival series, has also been added to the guest list. My friend Rachel Freitas, who you may have also heard on the podcast before, mentioned to me that Rebecca played vampire Elizabeth Barrington in Port Charles, so fans of that series may also want to come meet Rebecca at the 60th anniversary Dark Shadows convention. Tickets to the event are still available. I believe hotel rooms are sold out at the event rate. I've included links to Eventbrite and the hotel in the show notes. I also have it on good authority that Mark Maddox is going to be there. Of course, Mark Maddox painted the Dark Shadows lunchbox and a lot of other really amazing artwork, and you've heard Mark on the podcast before, so I look forward to seeing Mark again there. We're also going to be at Monsterama along with Catherine Lee Scott, James Storm, Jeff Thompson, so I'm looking forward to that event in Atlanta, Georgia in August. So the 60th anniversary Dark Shadows vibes are going to continue there. So anyway, keep your eyes on the Dark Shadows news page and the Dark Shadows 60th anniversary event page on Facebook for up-to-the-minute updates on the Dark Shadows anniversary event, because news keeps coming out. Speaking of which, the cover for the Dark Shadows Noir book has been revealed and it looks sensational. From the Dark Shadows news page, Hermes Press will mark 60 years of Dark Shadows with the publication of Dark Shadows Noir, the first ever hardcover coffee table book devoted to photographs from the show. Dark Shadows Noir will feature 224 pages of captivating full-page black and white images, including dozens of previously unseen shots from the archive of Dan Curtis Productions. The groundbreaking sets, elaborate costumes, and atmospheric lighting depicted on the series will be on stunning display, with all images scanned in high resolution from original 35mm negatives and vintage fine-grain prints for rich CMYK reproduction in superior quality. Dark Shadows Noir will be published for the show's 60th anniversary, with pre-publication ordering details to come soon. So keep your eyes out on social media for updates. It keeps coming, and I know there's more stuff coming. I've heard whispers coming from Eagle Hill Cemetery that we're going to be getting some more cool stuff that hasn't been announced yet. So keep your eyes open for that. And with that said, let's get to today's show with Richard Halpern. It's going to be a fun time, so let's get to it. There's nowhere to run, there's no place to hide. This podcast is fun, but there are spoilers inside. Welcome to the strange and disturbing world of Terror at Collinwood. 'Tis I, Penny Dreadful, and I am excited. I am happy. I am heck-excited even to be joined by Richard Halpern returning to the podcast. You heard him back in episode 18, where we discussed the Dark Shadows Christmas Carol event, and I am thrilled to have him back. Richard served as the MC for the Dark Shadows festivals for many years and was a member of the Collinsport Players. He is also known as the world's top Austin Powers impersonator and as Mr. Tin Pan Alley. Welcome back to the show, Richard. It's a pleasure to have you back.
It's a pleasure to be here, Penny Dreadful. It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me back. And so many wonderful Dark Shadows things going on, as you know, right?
Yes, the 60th anniversary year. Just that news keeps, I can't keep up with all the news. It just keeps coming left and right.
Well, that's good. I mean, I am involved. I do not know if I'm going to be MC this year or not. I was told Jim Pearson, who kind of runs it. He's running it with Catherine Lee Scott this year and a few others. It's going to be, I guess, a little bit different than they've done in years past, but they have the same guest panels and the banquet and the costume parade, which we had for years, which was hosted by our dear late friend Marcy Robin, look, she's greatly missed
Yeah.
in Dark Shadows world. She would
Shadowgram.
hold
Yeah.
the costume, and it was called the costume gala, the costume parade. Now, apparently, it's a contest again. I am hosting that.
Great.
If you want to send me some bribes, send me some money, and I'll make sure you win.
Do you
And there
take
are prizes.
PayPal? No.
Yeah, there are prizes. So I'm doing that.
Are you
Um,
hosting as Austin Powers or as
yeah, oh
Richard?
no, I want to just be Richard Austin. Yeah, no, I'm just going to be myself. Um, but yeah, maybe I'll bring Austin to pop in at some other point during the weekend. I'm going
Uh-huh.
to be there on site the whole time, regardless. And I don't know how Jim is going to MC because the reason he had an MC is because he was running around the whole time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what, so we don't know what's going to happen. All I know
Yeah.
is I was asked to host the contest, and I'm happy and I'm honored to do that, believe me, because this festival, apparently, the 60th anniversary, this is apparently is going to be the last one. They're going to go out
Yeah.
with a bang, on 60 years of the show.
Yeah.
And the guests, so there's a wonderful guest. Maybe there'll be some surprise guests. I do know there is one guest that they was a friend of mine, and I know many of them, who they want to approach, and I've already approached and said somebody is going to call you about this, and this person wants to go to it, and will actually has never well. This is going to be somebody who everyone is going to want to
Uh,
talk to and
Dark
hear from.
Shadows cast member, crew member.
Yes, a Dark Shadows cast member who shall remain nameless,
Interesting.
genderless,
Uh-huh.
everything, because if they don't show up, then we don't have to say nothing about it.
Right.
But I'll tell you in private, okay? When
Okay.
we're
Okay. Okay.
just you should know. I mean,
Off the
let's
record.
say
Off the record. We'll
part of
talk.
the
Yeah.
yeah, you're part of the thing,
Well, yeah,
so
I've been asked to help out with I'm going to be moderating a couple of the panels. Uh,
that's great.
yeah, I don't know which ones yet, but I've been asked to do that. But I'm not sure. I haven't been told or
Right,
which panels I'm going to be involved with, but I'm
right.
happy to help out with whatever they need. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
so
they did well with you. And no, it's good that they got somebody good like you to handle it.
and
Some
I'm
of that.
sure it's going to be an all hands on deck situation where we're
Yeah,
all probably going to be helping
yeah.
out where
We'll all be
we're
running, yeah,
yeah,
helping each other out and so good.
yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. So,
Yeah, so it's going to be, I think it'll be fun. I'm glad you're hosting the costume contest because that's good. That'll be really fun. I think that you're the perfect choice to do that for sure. I think it's going to be, you're going to hit, it's going to be a good, really good time. And I know a lot of people are excited about the costume contest. And there are some people that are super talented at making costumes and doing cosplay. And I can't wait to see what people come up with for that. Now, for many years, you were the MC at the Dark Shadows festivals, and I'd love to hear about that. But before we talk about that,
before we get to that, I wanted you have some really exciting stuff happening with your Austin Powers performances because that's blown up lately. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that before we talk about your festival emceeing memories?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. As you said, I'm an impersonator, look-alike tribute artist, a phrase that was coined by my good friend Julie Shepard, who was one of the premier Judy Garlands for many years. She's the one, she said she coined the phrase tribute artist.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's someone who, or I'm doing my tribute to Austin Power. I'm somebody who's doing their tribute to Neil Diamond. So that's basically someone who recreates that character in voice and look in wardrobe and it has to be a good improv person. I've been very fortunate to have been successful portraying that character for almost 30 years, my dear. Yeah, I started I started doing it when I was when I was 5 years old. But what has happened is this, with the advent of social media, of course, I have an Instagram page, I have a Facebook page, I have a YouTube, but Instagram is, I gave up TikTok. That I just couldn't figure that one out, and it was so bizarre.
I don't even have one. I just didn't
Well,
bother with it. Yeah.
you're better. Look, the less of these things, unless you're really, really want to do, business, the business that I do and that I want to do. Look, I'm one guy. I'm a simple person. I live very simply. I don't have a large overhead. So yeah, I'm happy with what I have. I'm not a rich man, but I make a decent living just dressing up and going around, going to parties and stuff. So look, I'm very grateful for all that. And what has happened recently, and this is the second time this has happened, and the first time it happened, it was not as crazy or widespread as this. I am often asked to participate in, well, podcasts like this one, as Austin or myself. And I have friends that produce music videos. A gentleman by the name of Van Ward, who's the manager of Adana Daru, who is a singer, wanted me in a music video a couple of years back called Honest Liar, which you can get on YouTube. So I was Austin in that, and that was a lot of fun. Well, Van knows a lot of people. I did a party for another friend of his, and then another friend of his name is Chase Hofer, contacted me and said, I do these little skits and I'd love to hire you to come in and do a skit. I'm just over in Santa Monica. It'd be like an hour or less. And so I go over there. This is Monday morning. Monday morning, what if I pick up the date of Monday, whatever the date of Monday was, the 9th, 8th, whatever, of February. He gives me a scenario and he says, just like you've seen, I've done it with a few other people. You come to the door and you come in because I've asked you to come in, and then we ask you to perform, and it's awkward, and so that's all he said. So of course I come in and hello baby, and I start right in and stuff, and so a lot of the stuff we shot it. We took about 30 minutes. We went all over the map, and most of it was not used in it. But what he used was basically showing him that I was a little awkward with the character, kind of nervous performing, and pulling out my phone and reading Austin Powers' cheesy pickup lines a little bit and being like saying them wrong, like, oh, would you like to, doing it like that. And it just went on like that for just a couple of minutes and everything. Well, he posted that afternoon and he blew up. That
What?
post went viral.
That's
And
great.
all of a sudden, my Instagram page went viral. Everybody is asking me for, are you available? I want to hire you. Where are you based out of? I want to, you know, tons of inquiries. Some of them, I had to sift through them because some of it was really, you just got to sift through and vet some of them, but some really good ones are in there.
Yeah.
And I gained, I from the thing I did before, which was another party. And I came in, this was on Twitter, and I come in and I go, yeah, baby, yeah. And the host of the party, the birthday boys, like covering his face and stuff. So it was a short little video uh, that blew up on Twitter. And then everybody started coming over to my page. So I gained like a 2,000 followers from what I had. Anyway, so this, I think I was already up to maybe 8,000. I got up to about 20,000 or 26,000. Then it started to wane. It started to go down and down and say, oh, it's going low. Then this thing happens on Monday. And ever since, I've been at my Gig Salad, which is a site for entertainers. You pay to be on there, and they give you leads. That is blowing up too. I'm getting all kinds of things over there. Can't keep up. I got to vet it. I'm up to like 39,000. This is within 3 days.
Wow.
And it's going up, going up. Somebody wrote an article. I think the website is Upworthy, and they wrote an article about it. And that, I mean, it's amazing what's going on with Austin Powers.
That's
And I've been
incredible.
getting
Wow.
some nice gigs, and I also do shout outs, personal shout outs for people. I don't use Cameo. Cameo really was nasty and condescending to me a few years
Oh,
back. And then when I started to hit it, oh, well, you don't have enough of a social following to be on our site. You got to pay them too. So they're turning away the money. And, they don't care what the talent is. They don't care about the presentation. They care about how many followers do you have. And I've looked on Cameo, and yeah, they have some wonderful people on there, amazing, some friends of mine. But then they got some impersonators. They look like garbage. How is it that you chose that? Oh, they got more followers than me.
yeah.
Like I said, very condescending. And then years later, when I started to pick up followers, they reached out. They sent me an email. Oh, congratulations! You made it. You made the team.
Yeah.
Contact us again and get with one of our coordinators to have you start. So I wrote this, and I won't use the actual language, but here was my reply in the email: Go S in your hat. Send. So I told them to go in their hat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't need Cameo.
Yeah.
I do all of this on Instagram. And right now we're doing the Valentine's Day shout outs. The big shout outs are always Valentine's Day and Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Well, this blew up. I'm on a Valentine's Day.
Well,
And I couldn't be happy. I'm swamped with it. I couldn't be happy. I had to cut him off.
wow. Well, this will be out before Mother's Day. It won't be out in time for Valentine's Day. But
Good.
what's the Instagram? What's your Instagram handle so people can find you on there?
Sure. For the Austin Powers Instagram, it is Austin Powers Impersonator.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, all one word. Austin Powers Impersonator, singular, not
Okay.
Powers Impersonators, just Austin Powers Impersonator.
All right. And I'll
Uh,
put a link in the show notes so people can click through and go to that. Now, have you ever done Dr. Evil?
I did Dr. Evil twice, and it was for industrial videos.
Oh, interesting.
That character is a lot more difficult to dress up as than
Right.
Austin
With the makeup
because,
and
well, yeah, that's an industrial video. You're doing it once.
yeah,
If you had to do this on a Dr. Evil on a regular basis, you can't use a bald cap. Your skin would come off just like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know what I'm saying?
sure.
So the people that do Dr. Evil, and I have friends that do it, especially John D Domenico, who is an incredible entertainer. He does several characters. He does Austin. He does Dr. Evil. He's been my Dr. Evil. We're very good friends. He does a lot of characters. He is either bald or has very close cropped hair because you got to put wigs on and take them off. You can't do that with a bald cap with any regularity.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why. And then you got to, well, if you really want to do it, there's earpieces, there's a nose piece, there are contact lenses, there's the scarf, and you got makeup. So that's a very, very difficult transformation
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah.
physically to do that. Austin, very easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not you stick on sideburns. These are real sideburns for now because you put on hair. I don't put on a wig. I just tease this up. You know, Penny. I just tease. I put on glasses
Yeah.
and teeth. My
Yeah.
teeth were made by Gary Archer, who is the
Wow.
top dental prosthetic tooth person in the industry. And he's not just special effects, he is a dental technician. He has a lab where they do dentures and partials and stuff, in addition to doing these movie teeth. He did, speaking of vampires, he did a Blade. He did Interview with the Vampire in the movie and also the television show. He did some teeth for Frankenstein, the current movie.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
He's all over the place, this
Yeah.
guy. He made my teeth.
Yeah.
And like I said, he did the teeth in all three Austin Powers films.
Yeah. Wow.
So I
Cool.
went right to the top, and my teeth were made by him. And I love when people say,
Fantastic.
"Oh, your teeth are too good. They're too good." I said, "Yeah, you bet you better take another look, baby. Like, oh, they're too clean. You didn't do the teeth right." So armchair quarterbacks,
Yeah,
armchair
right, right,
dentists.
right. Now, do you still do perform as Mr. Tin Pan Alley as well?
No, I retired
Oh, you
from
did. I thought I saw you
yeah.
post something about that. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I retired from it. It got, after the pandemic, it got extremely difficult to try to find another room. I don't work at Cicada. I didn't work at Cicada Club downtown. It was fun while it was fun. And towards the end, there was a little bit of a disagreement and stuff.
I
And
see.
I wound up just not, I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. Listen, that the Cicada Club in downtown LA is it's a fantastic venue. You can go there and it's very vintage. The building, the Oviat building, and the space that Cicada restaurant is in used to be Oviat's men's store, which was the place to go in the 1920s. And it was now converted into a restaurant. And it's used in many movies, television shows, and you get some really wonderful orchestras there. And there's a dance floor. So yeah, if you want a night back in the 30s or the 40s or the 20s, it's kind of a standalone place to go.
Yeah.
So I recommend it for that. It wasn't for me after a while, and then it kind of changed. A few people left, and then the hiring was left to the owners and stuff. And I reached out. I never got a call back, and so that was kind of the last straw. I was
Sure.
getting turned down by all of these high-end rooms, restaurants or hotels, and that's all I wanted to do is do like a one night a week at a hotel. I was at the Four Seasons in the Windows Lounge, and that was a fantastic venue. I went over very well. And then, of course, the pandemic stopped, and then, of course, that changed hands and everything. And every place else I would go, they're looking at me like I'm Satan. They're like, and I always, or if I called, I always got the assistant. Oh, that sounds great. All the peripheral people loved my idea. And then I always got, oh, they'll call you tomorrow. They're going to call you tomorrow. And, then I go off on my real work. I come back and nobody's called. And like I said, it was, some people were just downright disrespectful. And I finally said, what am I beating my head against the wall for? I do the Austin job where people appreciate my presentation. I make people a lot of money because a lot of corporates hire me for trade shows, industrial videos and stuff, and they get attention. I make tons of money for people, especially at trade shows, because I'm a booth gatherer, traffic generator. I bring more people in to those booths, and people are happy about that and very respectful, and they give me what I asked for. So I said, bleep this. I don't want to do this nonsense anymore. If nobody's going to pay attention to me, but I did get an inquiry for a very high orchestra thing. It didn't go through, unfortunately. But I said, to the agent, I said, I retired from this. I don't do this, but I'll dig out it for this. I'll do it. So,
Yeah, right,
and
right.
went out and I had to make phone calls, who's still available and this. So it didn't go, but yeah, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
There's so many people that, especially people that don't pay you, want you to do it. I go, oh, that's great. Could you just do it for us? I said,
Well, yeah.
dude, no,
Yeah.
I'm done.
I
I'm
know that
doing
routine too. Yeah.
I'm sure you do because you're very
Yeah.
talented.
It,
You're very, I know the level and quality of what you do,
thank
and I
you.
can imagine that people come in and want you for nothing, and they don't realize, oh, we have to get paid
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to fly me in somewhere? Oh no, you don't want to fly me in. You want to hire me back, but you don't want to pay.
Yeah.
And they realize, or my favorite is this. Hi, uh, are you ever in New York? Hi, do you ever come to Boston? If you're ever in Boston, look me, which means I want to hire you, but I don't want to pay for you to come.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You get
If
that
you
too.
happen to be here, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. And I'm going to keep a list of all the people. Hi, I'm in Boston. Do you want to still?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Well,
But
but you have a rich history as a performer, and you brought that to that your roles at the festival as an
Mhm.
MC and also as a part of the Collinsport Players too.
Yes,
So talk before we get to our main subject today, which is going to
sure.
be the funniest Dark Shadows characters. I'd love
Yes,
to hear some of your highlights, some of your memories of the festivals that jump out at you, like some of your best memories of the festivals in your role as MC or Collinsport
sure.
Players member.
Well, as far as common sport players go, and you may know this, and if you don't, I'm sure you know, but the listeners may not be familiar with this. I had a niece and nephews, little kids. This is way back in the late 80s, like 1988 to about 1991. And they had started running Dark Shadows on Channel 56, UHF. So this is how long ago. So Channel 56 was a station in Anaheim, California. We called it the Snow Channel because it was always funny. This little tiny station they started syndicating Dark Shadows. Now my sister, who's 9 years older than me, we're both original people. I remember the show as a little kid. I ran home from school to watch the show.
Yeah.
And she told her kids, you got to watch this show, Dark Shadows, because there are all these mistakes and they've left them in. She even said somebody's eyelash fell in a drink. No, that never, Charles Ellis, who is the Dark Shadows expert. I defer to him every time. He knows everything. I asked him when was it. He doesn't know anything about it. I asked the oh please forgive me. I forgot your name. She's head of the Grayson Hall fan club. You may know.
Melody Clark?
Yes, I think it was Melody. Yes,
Yeah.
I asked her, and she said, well, there was one show where her eyelash kind of slipped.
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing. I never saw that.
I
So
don't
if it's
remember
I
that
didn't
ever
know.
happening. I remember the eyelash kind of slipping a little, like you described, but never falling into a
Falling in
drink.
a yeah,
No.
that must have been another show. But
Yeah.
anyway, this really intrigued my niece. She was the one who latched onto that show.
Huh.
And we're watching the show just for the mistakes. Of course, you see a lot of bloopers and you see all this stuff. And we were just playing Dark Shadows. We would play games. I'm the cool uncle, so we decided to film them because they had a video camera. Remember those?
Yep.
A VHS video camera. You'd run the camera and you'd hear because it picked up the sound of the tape. And we made these videos called Baby Dark Shadows. The first one was a 1790, I'm sorry, the first one was an 1897 parody. The second was 1795. The third was Dream Curse. And the fourth was Sarah. And there are four of these. They were edited and the credits put on by Joe Integlia, who did some really nice. He put the music in and he did the credits and stuff. So they are now, and they're, those are on VHS too, so they're probably deteriorating. Put it onto DVD and we put it. Anyway, it's very low quality unless you do the dailies, which I do have, here somewhere, which run really high quality. I posted them on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you just type in Baby Dark Shadows, you're going to see all of these little episodes. And my niece, she plays all the female characters except Julia. Of course, Julia has to be played by a man, as you know. So I played Julia. I played Reverend Trask. I think I was Willie. I was Joshua. Who else did I play? I don't remember who else I played in that, but and then her older brother played Barnabas, and even the little tiny one, the youngest brother, he played Barnabas in one episode, and Nathan Forbes and Ben Stokes. The kid is this big, and he's Ben Stokes. This little tiny baby is Ben. And Edward, who's the middle nephew, he was Sandor. And my niece, she played Magda, she played Maggie, she played Josette, she played Angelique. And my favorite one that she plays is Elizabeth. She plays Elizabeth, and it's now.
Spectacular. Yes.
Have you seen these, Penny?
Oh
Have you
yeah, I
seen
remember when you were on last time. I think we talked about it.
talked about it?
I
Okay,
watched. I
well,
did watch them. Yeah, yeah. I'll put a link in the show notes too for people to
yeah,
show. You
right.
guys have to watch it. They're adorable. You definitely have to watch them.
And yeah, so they were up there. So that is what got the attention of the Collinsport players, because Louis Wendruck, who was he's a big fan. He had a fan club of Dark Shadows locally in West Hollywood, and I read about it, and I came to it, and I brought the kids, and I brought the tapes, and they showed those tapes. Well, Jonathan Harrison, who's he and Laura Brody, and very big in the Collinsport players. And Laura Brody, and I think it was one of the founders of the players. They told me about these players, and they wanted me to be in, and they wanted the kids to be in it because, oh, finally we have someone who can play David, who's an actual little boy. So I joined the Collinsport players, and we did some stuff in conjunction with Baby Dark Shadows. I wound up; those kids were in some of the skits, the live skits. I wrote some skits. I wrote House Alone, which was like Home Alone.
Uh-huh.
I wrote prank phone calls from Collinwood, where they're up in Quentin's room with the phone,
Uh-huh.
and they're making prank calls. And we did.
I love
And
that.
then
That's great. That's a great
I
idea.
also, it was a stream, and then I did a tie-in. Started doing movie tie-ins. I did one called "To Barnabas Collins, Thanks for Everything, Julia Hoffman," which was based on Wong Fu.
Yeah.
And that was really funny. And some of them got a little naughty, like
Uh-huh.
that. And then the big one I wrote was an Austin Powers crossover called "The Spy Who Bit Me."
This guy, I'm sorry, your sound cut out there.
The Spy Who Bit Me.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And that was a bit, and I had all of these cast members in that. By now we got cast members to be in it. And John Carlin was in it. Diana Malay is in it. They're playing Willie and Laura.
Wow.
Lara Parker played Mrs. Evil, which was Dr. Evil's widow, and her daughter Katie was Miss Evil. So you got like Scott and Dr. Evil. You've got Mrs. Evil and Miss Evil.
That's great.
And these people are. I almost got Louis to be in it. Louis Edmonds wanted to do it. He was very, very frail at the time. He
Um,
wanted to do it. I wrote the part. He could sit at a table, read the script, and just a few lines only with me. I wrote that thing like a blueprint. All the people only had dialogue with me, and they left, except Lara. She had a bigger part because she's like the big surprise, at the end. Uh, I'm not going to mention any names, but the bane of existence in showbiz is usually the publicists. They can be really good or they can be horrible. And the showrunners. You can have great showrunners, but you can have showrunners that ruin a show.
yeah.
And publicists that ruin a show. I will not mention any names, but some nameless person who made some of the decisions for Louis said, I'm not going to let him do it. No, I
Oh,
don't want him to do it. He could have done it. And of course, he passes away right after that. That would have been his last official portrayal of Roger Collins. And of
oh,
course, so if
that's
you're
sad.
watching and you know who you are, publicist, read between the lines
Yeah.
because you're a moron, baby, and this and
That's
whatever.
a shame. That's a
But that's what I hate. I come up with a good idea that the fans will love and all this, and some numbnuts goes ahead and says,
yeah.
and the next day he wound up coming to watch me in the skit called On a Dark Night You Can See Forever, which was a spoof on A Clear Day You Can See
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Jonathan Harrison wrote it, and he wrote new lyrics to the songs,
Yeah.
and it was brilliant. And
Yeah.
I played Barbara Streisand in it, and Louis said, "I want to come tomorrow morning and see you in drag. I'm going to be that."
I
Um,
love it.
you're gonna scream.
But
So those must be posted somewhere.
I'm
I
sure
don't know.
Guy Haynes probably has them. I know he's been posting a lot of stuff on his YouTube channel. And actually, when I just had him on the podcast, and he was just on Catherine Gonzalez's new podcast, The Back Room at the Blue Whale, talking
Mhm.
about the how he talked to Jim Pearson about doing a skit. Jeff was also very heavily involved in the
Yeah,
Collinsport
he was
Players, but I
MC.
guess Jeff just kind of wants to go as a fan and hang out. So
Right.
hopefully somebody else. Guy said maybe he'd write one, so maybe you can get with Guy and come up with something.
Well, here's the thing. When you do those skits,
Yeah,
you wind up missing a lot of the festival because you're practicing.
that's
Now we have
true.
Zoom. We have
Yeah,
Zoom. We
yeah,
can practice on Zoom, but
right.
that's the thing. And to get the cast members in it, you got to chase people around with butterfly nets because they have commitments
Sure.
for the thing. And then Jim got pretty angry, because the most cast members were in the Austin Powers one. And he's like, look, I need to have and it's understandable. Plus, like I said, you miss a lot of it. Um, I'm not sure how they're running the show this year. I don't know what the flow of it is going to be. If Jim Pearson said he's up for it, that's gold
Yeah,
because he was the one that said, I really, it's hard for, if you're doing this, they have to be here for this. They have their own presentations where they recreate the characters or they wrote, Jerry Lacey wrote a skit for him. It's
yeah.
not a skit, a dramatic piece for him and Nancy Barrett as Tony Peterson and Carolyn, who meet 100 years later at a reunion.
Oh yes, I
She
saw.
does.
I watched that on YouTube. That's excellent. Yeah,
I saw it live. I was crying.
yeah, yeah.
I
It's
cried at the end of that. That's how good that was.
Yeah, that's
And
since it was sensational. Yeah, it's really good. If people
yeah,
haven't seen it, but yeah, if you listen to Catherine's podcast, Guy talks a little bit about it. So I'm not, I don't remember specifically what he said, but it was something to that effect that he had talked to Jim about it. But yeah, ask Guy because he has probably knows more about it than I do. But it would be cool. I mean, that's kind of a tradition, the Dark Shadows Festival tradition, that it would be kind of a fun after hours thing to do.
I think so too. But as I say, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what the commitment is going to be expected of whoever's involved and the cast members. I know they're doing panels.
Right.
I know they're doing, as you know, if you're going to host a Q&A. Um, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And I told Jonathan Harrison because he wants to do. I said, you better reach out to Jim or Catherine and see what they say about this. I'm not planning to write anything. I mean, if we want to revive one, it's so hard to do.
Yeah.
We could. One thing we could revive of mine would be the House Alone because Quentin is in that. So I'm sure David Selby would like to be Quentin, and by the miracles of God or whatever, if David Hennessy would show up, which is doubtful because he's in Panama,
Yeah.
he could be David.
That would be incredible. Can you imagine? Oh, people
Oh,
would
that would be
lose their
great.
minds
But
if that happened.
yeah, I'd
Uh,
have to rewrite it and stuff. But anyway, I'm with you, Penny. I think that if they did a skit, it would be great. But as I say, I'm surprised. I'm happy they asked me just to host because we don't know about emceeing or not. So there we go.
Yeah, and well, I guess we'll get more information as we get closer. We're still
Sure,
quite a few months away, but hopefully we'll have a better idea of what the schedule is going to be like and what's going to
sure.
be happening. So, but a lot of the Collinsport players skits were really funny. And you
Hmm.
mentioned Louis Edmonds, who was hilarious. Or
Hmm.
Louis Edmonds. Guy calls him Louis Edmonds. I had always called him Louis Edmonds. Helen calls him Louis Edmonds. I'm never sure what to call. I call him by both. Sometimes I say Louis. I guess that's more like people that knew him, like that
Yeah.
call him Louis, right? What do you call him? You call him Louis or Louis?
I met him just a few times. The nicest man,
Yeah,
very frail by the time I met him. I didn't meet him in his prime and stuff. Um, I don't know. I probably called him Louis. Big Lou, I think is what Jim would
Big
refer to
Lou.
him.
That was the
Big,
name of his,
big,
yeah,
big Lou.
his
Yeah,
the
Big Lou.
biography that he did, or autobiography that he did with Craig Hamrick.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, Helen was very, very close to him.
Yes. Yes.
She was very close. She was close with many of the stars. She was close with Jonathan Frid.
Yes.
She was kind of close. I'm not sure with Diana. She knows most. She knew most
Don
of them.
Briscoe, she too.
Sure. And Walter Walter Down was very close with Don Briscoe,
Yeah.
and I think he visited him in
Yeah.
Tennessee. I don't remember where he said he
Helen did
lived.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, and you see, this is some of these people on the inside were very close with them and like family. Helen Samaras, without question, is one of the nicest, if not the nicest lady that ever walked this planet. She's like a sister to me.
Yeah. She is super
She
cool. Super
she's
nice
the
lady.
kindest, the most generous lady, and she is very devoted to Dark Shadows. And she is a member of my family. She is
Yeah.
a member of my
Yeah.
family, and I cannot say enough good things about Helen Samaras.
Yeah,
So
she's
we love
great, and
her.
she's going to be back on. She was on podcast in one of the Seaview Terrace episodes I did, and she's going to
Okay.
be coming back on at some
Good,
point to talk about Lewis
good.
Edmonds. Actually, so
Mhm.
we're going to be talking about her memories of him. But he certainly, the main topic of our episode today actually is the funniest Dark Shadows characters. Now, Dark Shadows, of course, was a drama. It was gothic horror, gothic romance. It was suspenseful. It was
Mhm.
spooky, but there were many characters in Dark Shadows who were funny. There were funny moments. It was never at the
Mhm.
expense of the overall drama of the show, I would say, but there were so many things that cracked me up in Dark Shadows and characters that were so well written. There were so many witty characters, witty moments, but some
Yeah.
of the characters that jump out at me, I just had like a list of some of the characters and moments that just still crack me up to this day.
Uh-huh.
And I want to touch on some of those, and I know you have some too. So let's talk today about the funniest Dark Shadows characters, and I'll just kick it over to you to start things off here, Richard. What are some of your favorite funny Dark Shadows characters or moments, if you prefer?
Absolutely. Now, Penny, I want you to give me your take on what I say, because
Okay.
you're very high up on the Dark Shadows ladder, higher than me
I don't know. Well,
by
well,
far.
I don't know
So,
about that,
no, no,
but
no, no.
no,
Look,
no. There's no
okay,
ladder. We're all
there's a
we're all fans. We're all
it's,
part of the.
it's his fire escape ladder. He goes up and down.
No, no.
Okay, let me start with, well, of course, Julia. Julia, because every most of the people on that show were from the stage.
Yes.
Many of those people were from the stage. Julia or Grayson Hall was from the stage and from movies, and of course, very big, very overblown. And it worked for some of the stuff that she does. It worked for everything she did, but her famous, my favorite poor Jerry Lacey. His first day on the show as Tony Peterson, which was started out as like a Sam Spade noir
Yeah,
character. He's got a
sure.
raincoat and he's the lawyer. And he had one of the tour de force moments with Julia when she's trying to get him to hide the notes that she has for Barnabas, and Barnabas wants the notes, and so he's terrifying her. And she says, you got to hide that. You got to hide this for me. Well, she starts freaking out in his office, and of course, she just goes over the top. And the best moment is when she goes, you know. So I asked Jerry Lacey, all of 27 years young, a child by any and they showed that clip at one of the festivals. And I said, Jerry, I'm so glad they showed that clip. How did you get through that with a straight face when this happened? And what were you thinking? And he said, well, I got through it with a straight face. I didn't want to lose the job. Then I thought, what have I gotten myself into? And of course, Grayson Hall was a fantastic actress.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Wow.
Oh, I played Julia many
Yeah.
times. And let me tell you something, Donna, about that.
Yeah.
The only thing worse and more embarrassing than getting locked out of your hotel room naked in a towel is getting locked out of your hotel room in drag as Julia, which in Anaheim one year. Hello, I'm from the house. I'm locked out of my room. Come up quickly, quickly. Anyway, we digress.
No, it is.
Night of the Iguana, Grayson Hall is. I think she got nominated for an Academy Award. She is that good. She was a wonderful actress.
She's fantastic. And she's fantastic as Julia too. I mean, she's
amazing, Julia, even though, well, but look, that character, oh my man, I love him so. As long as he needs me. I mean, that's what she's playing.
Well, like you said, she's a theater actress, and I think she was being theatrical.
She played the unrequited love with Barnabas.
Yeah.
And God, she was killed for him. She did all these. She kidnapped people. She hypnotized people for him.
The times that Julia made me laugh the most were her dry delivery of certain lines, because she could also do that really well. It was like this cutting, dry delivery sometimes that she would say of certain lines that were just so spot on and so funny too. But I loved her. But I also loved her as Natalie and Magda were. Especially Magda was.
Yeah, Magda was. Yeah, she was.
Oh my God, hilarious. Quentin, that really, accent. It was.
What's that? The accent.
Barnabas. Like she could tell she was having a ball playing that part. My big fat husband, and she would talk to Sandor. She was hysterical as Magda. I thought her and Sandor together cracked me up a lot, and the Countess could be pretty funny too, I thought. So
yeah, she was good too. She said, "Madam, do you mean you still maintain a title? We fought a war about this. Yeah. Why do you think I live in Martinique?"
Yes, exactly.
And then of course, Barnabas is going on about Julia, or not Julia, about Vicky or somebody. And she would say, well, I look horrible and she would never want me because of the way I look. And of course, Julia says, well, that wouldn't matter to some women.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Looks at her and Julia, you're a good friend. Like this. All right. So we got Julia, Pansy, Faye.
Oh, I was going to say Pansy, Faye, 100%. Anything with Carl and or Pansy is comedy gold. I love every minute with either of those characters.
Right. Now, it's interesting. And what is your take on this, Penny? You have Kay Fry, who's on the show as Pansy Faye.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she dies or is murdered. I think, wasn't Barnabas strangle her or something?
Oh, it was Barnabas had turned Dirk Wilkins into a vampire and then he killed Pansy. Okay. Dirk killed Pansy. Yeah.
So they give it to Carol or Charity, played by Nancy. I loved her, and I loved her as Millicent.
Oh, she was great.
She was great as Millicent. You see how she kept her hands together. She had a little mannerism for
She was
each of these characters
bird-like
that she
almost.
did. So, and then they made Charity the character, and she knows she's Charity, but don't ever call me that, Pansy Pie, you know. And
Yeah.
that was really good. And then, of course, when they go back to, was it? They go back somewhere where they go to Letitia Faye, which
Oh,
was her
1840.
mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so we got Pansy
Yeah.
Faye.
So I wanted, there's a couple of things. Oh my God. Pansy Faye. So first of all, the scene where Carl comes back from Atlantic City and Barnabas and Beth are in the old house and Carl just bursts in and he's so excited to introduce Pansy to Barnabas. And he gives Barnabas a box of saltwater taffy, first of all, which is just ridiculous. Anything with Carl Collins is absolutely ridiculous. The Collins prankster of something so bizarre and unique, which John Carlin was always, anything John Carlin did was great, but
Oh, John was
Carl was
great.
ridiculous. And then Pansy comes in, who is equally ridiculous and sings this body song, this dance hall song, and then it cuts to Barnabas and Beth, who just look so somber and just completely like WTF. Like what is happening right now? It cracks me up every single time I see it. Like without fail, it's such a great scene. And
It
then
really,
yeah, when Nancy Barrett is possessed by Pansy and she becomes Pansy, every time I love everything with Charity as Pansy is
right.
hysterically fun. But it's sad. There's just like a sad element to her as well,
There
especially
is.
after like Carl gets killed by Barnabas, and then she's like looking for. She's sad about Carl being. There's
Yeah.
like there's like little bit of a tragic element to that character as well. But she's
Yeah.
so good. Especially
But,
Nancy Barrett was
oh,
amazing
she's
as Pansy.
and Nancy is such a lovely, wonderful, nice lady. I mean,
Yeah,
I had some contact with her. I'll tell you Nancy Barrett's story in a second.
sure.
But yeah, Pansy Faye, when she first comes in, you're thinking, oh, she saw Carl coming. He's stupid and he's got all the money. So I'm going to go back. But that's not the case because she really loves him.
Yeah,
My Carl, my Carl.
yeah.
Um, and I loved it when she's yelling at the jailer. What was the guy's name? Garth
Garth
Blackwood.
Blackwood. Yeah.
Scares the bejesus out of everybody. But she says, "He's the one you need to find. He's the one you should." She's yelling at him and stuff.
She's insane.
But yeah,
I love it.
so okay,
Okay.
the next one, and you're gonna. I know everyone's gonna love this. I think one of the funniest things on the show were skulls with eyeballs and wigs. Yeah, skulls, and of course the skull was cut across here because it's not a real
It's like autopsy skull or something.
yeah, autopsy skull. Skulls with eyeballs and wigs, and every time they found a dead body hanging somewhere, the skeleton was naked.
Yeah.
Reverend Trask, what, or the first Trask, who didn't have a first name. No,
Yeah.
his first name was Reverend.
Right.
Because his parents said, I know what you want to be in life. We're going to name you Reverend and Lamar Trask, Lamar being Lara Parker's actual real name.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I wonder if that's why they gave him that name as like an inside
Maybe,
joke or something. Yeah.
maybe they did. But yeah, all the skeleton, except the one in Quentin's room, which I won't say, but he's
It still
dressed
had
up.
a wig though.
Well, yeah, he had a wig, but it was dressed in clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to everybody else is naked. They turn into a skeleton, the clothes disappears. I don't know what's going on. They wound up eating their clothes because they were so starved in the whatever being penned up. So let's see. Oh, the bartender with no name and no lines. He was punchy, Pudgy, Joe, Steve. They
They
had names.
decided on Bob. I think ultimately he became
Bob.
Bob the bartender. Yeah.
So he would mouth the words and everything. And I think he had
He did have a couple. Occasionally he would have a
one
line.
time they gave him a couple of lines.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when they go into parallel time, he's not there. You got Kenneth the McMillan.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He's talking up a storm. He's one of the main characters in that scene. That
I love when they go to 1795 that Bob the bartender still is
he's still
it's like the 1795 version of him. He's still playing a bartender at the Eagle.
yeah, your great grandson is gonna still
Yes.
maybe they own the bar and they
Maybe.
just
Yeah.
passed it
Yes.
through the ages.
Yeah.
The blue okay, we got the bartender with no name, one line, whatever. We've got okay, you've got the Jeb character who
Oh,
starts out as baby Joseph and Alexander and Michael. Okay, Alexander.
oh yeah.
We're having a party. Caroline's going to be there. That was also very funny.
Mrs.
Hi,
Started.
David. He was like Buzz Miller or what? Not Buzz Miller. Who was the guy on David Letterman? Um,
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking I
what
know who
his
you're
name?
talking about. I can't remember is the older guy with the glasses.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't.
Bud Millman.
Yes, him.
Bud
Yes.
Millman, and he goes, "Oh, hi, David. My name is E. Bud Millman, and I was." He was kind of like a little Truman Capote. Well, this little kid, hello, David. I'm here, and my name is Alexander. I
Yep.
mean, that he was, but
Yep.
he was really over the top New York. So
Yeah.
I loved him. Then, of course, God bless her for the Thea Mapes. And she forgets her line, and somebody calls out the line to cue her. And but let me tell you about this, Penny, and I'm very upset, and you'll be upset too. They stream that show now. You can see it on Tubi. You can see it on maybe Pluto. I don't know,
Pluto.
all these
Yep.
streaming services.
Me TV was running it recently, or Me TV Plus or something like that. Yeah.
Really, I didn't see it. I have
Not
that.
regular Me TV, but there's like a Me
Yeah,
TV.
I got Me TV Plus, but I haven't.
Yeah.
Maybe this is before I got it, but I watch it on Tubi every day.
Uh-huh.
I watched it, and I had never seen the whole show all the way through.
Uh-huh.
I finally saw the whole show all the way through. Then I started over again. So we're 18. I'm sorry, we're at parallel time, the present parallel time. They have edited out some of those lines. Like Bethia Mapes, you don't hear anyone call the line to her. You
Yeah.
hear a thunderclap.
Okay.
But if you go on YouTube, blooper, I think you still see it there. But
Yeah.
they cut that out, and how dare they?
They
Who
did
made
that.
that
Yeah,
decision?
I know. I heard about that. I knew they did that on the originally on the I guess on the DVD release, and then fans complained, so they put it
Yeah.
back on. But I guess
Well,
in the streaming version, it's still edited out. And my friend Erin was watching it, and she didn't see the blooper. And I was like, oh, really? So she had to look it up, I think, on YouTube to find
mhm,
it. Yeah. So
that's very bad that they did
yeah,
that.
because it was Bob Costello was calling the
Well,
queuing Bethia Mapes. So, or was it a ghost that was haunting
well,
Collinwood?
yeah, but yeah, but you see there again, somebody, maybe a publicist, made that decision
Yeah,
to cut
they
it out,
shouldn't
and it
alter
was a
the original
stupid
content. Yeah,
decision. Well, what gives you the right
yeah,
to edit that?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Who gives you the right? It's not like a cuss word or something, which I have actually seen on some, even Little House on the Prairie. Somebody uttered the N word, and that you see them say it, but it's the sound is turned off, and they say that's a little different because now you've got something that wouldn't play well today. It was racist then. And they said it because it was just normal conversation. They didn't call somebody that; they were just talking. But in any case, that I can kind of get. And depending on what station you're watching some of these shows on, they leave them in. All in the Family
yep.
had that word a couple of times, and they used to edit it out, but now when they show that, they put a disclaimer at the beginning of the show saying there are several stereotypes and offensive things in this series. We're leaving them in to let just to show how this character or these characters were just in historical context. Plus, we don't want to mess up the integrity of the show. So they put a disclaimer in. And the only thing on All in the Family that they did change was the time when the draft dodger comes to have dinner, Christmas dinner. Do you remember that one?
Yes. Yep.
He's Mike's friend, and he's living in Canada because he's afraid to come back to the United States because they're going to arrest him or something. And one of the dinner guests is a guy whose son was killed in Vietnam. This is all
Yeah.
during the Vietnam War. So this friend of Mike's had run away up to Canada. Well, it all comes out at this dinner party. And Archie, this was the angriest I have
I
ever
remember
seen. And
that.
all
Yes. Yeah.
funny angry. I mean, serious angry, like how dare you? And it culminates with him saying, I don't want to talk about the goddamn war.
Yeah.
Well, you can see him saying God damn, but they edited so now it says the stupid damn war, but his mouth is saying God. That is the only thing that I have ever seen changed
Yeah.
in that show. All the racial stuff is still in there. All the the phobias are still in there. N-word is in there a few times. And but that's what they took out. They
Yeah.
guess they didn't want to say GD, they took
Yeah.
that. All
Sure.
right, so that's
Yeah.
so whoever decided or whoever made the decision to cut those things out of there, the hell with them,
I think it was somebody at MPI, but then they restored it. But I guess
oh
in the
yeah,
streaming version, they still have the altered one. But on
it's
the DVDs, thankfully, we have the correct,
good.
the original ones. Uh, are there any other characters on your list?
Yeah,
Because I have a few too.
oh yeah, we're gonna talk about the naked skeletons. Okay,
Yeah.
the last one is the gravekeeper.
Oh,
Oh,
he's on my list too. Yes.
live by fire. Are you living or are you dead? I am the
I
gravekeeper.
love
Who
I
are you?
love him so much.
There was two of them. The first one was the more animated
Daniel
one.
Keyes. Daniel Keyes was before it was Peter Murphy took over the
Okay,
part because Daniel Keyes wouldn't cross the picket line during the strike. Uh,
good.
and but he was so good. He was so eccentric and out of it. I loved every scene he was in, especially the scene with Barnabas, where Barnabas was so frustrated interacting with him because again, Barnabas is, he's this undead creature, this somber, guy who's this tragic figure, but he's look in the graveyard looking for David, and he's like, the caretaker's like, David Brewster died long ago. He's so, and he thinks Barnabas is a ghost. I mean, the whole thing is just so wonderful to watch. I love
Yeah,
that caretaker, and I wish he had come back to the show and just stayed on through. It would have been great to just have him through
yeah.
the whole series, just occasionally just show up in scenes because he was so good. Good call there with the caretaker. I have a few that you did mention as well. Professor Stokes, I love. He is great. Like he can be very serious. There's a sage, occult scholar who you go to battle the supernatural, but he was so funny with his observations and like when he was looking at the furniture in the old house and examining it, and he said, "Oh, pity, he was drunk when he made it." Like putting down the furniture in the old house, and just like comments like I'm not a travel agent for time, Mr. Collins, like that kind of, he had such great funny lines that were witty. And by the same
Yes.
token, I guess if you look at Count Patofi
Yeah.
too,
Oh,
almost like an evil Professor Stokes, he cracked me up, like, so especially like his interactions with Aristide and with Quentin, Quentin's a whole other, Quentin's also hilarious.
hmm
He could be very sarcastic, like
hmm
I mean, Quentin was a complete scoundrel, but he could be
hmm
sarcastic. And I love the scene where him and Evan Hanley try to summon the devil. And then you see the shadow in the window, and then Quentin
hmm
thinks they succeeded and he faints. his reaction to actually succeeding at summoning the devil is to faint. I love that moment. And Quentin
Yeah.
cracks me up. Those Count Patovi, Professor Stokes, Quentin, they just for different reasons. Just that they crack me up in certain moments as well. Any
Yeah,
thoughts on any of them?
but do you remember one of the times when I guess it's Evan Hanley,
Yeah.
he's in front of that big candelabra and he's summoning the thing, and somebody runs across with a
Yeah.
clipboard going, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
they cut that too.
Yeah.
That's cut out too.
Oh, they cut that out.
Yes.
Oh, that's another
I
thing
was
they cut out.
looking
Wow.
for they cut it. Unless I missed it. I mean,
Wow.
please, anybody out there, if I'm wrong, I stand corrected. I didn't see it. And that was a hilarious one where she was so all right.
Wow.
So
Huh.
okay.
Interesting.
Oh,
I know they left in Barnabas picking his nose
oh yeah, well
when
that's you can't.
they
Some of the
like
things you can't, blur it or something.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
you mentioned Professor Stokes.
Yeah.
Well, I think the most curious thing about Professor Stokes is his interactions with Adam.
Oh yes, yeah.
Last time you see Adam, he is with Professor Stokes at Professor Stokes' house. Somebody's coming and he says, Adam, go hide in the bedroom.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he never comes out, baby.
It-
I know what's going on there.
he's he's there
Adam,
to this day.
and his daddy, should so you don't hear about that, but you know what's going on. In fact, I did a parody. I won't go on about. And one of the characters is named and not the monster, but he's a real person, Adam Stokes. And
Oh,
that's an
okay. Yeah.
inside show.
I love
Like
it.
no outside of a dark shadow, only the shadows people are going to get that.
Uh-huh.
Adam Stokes.
I love it.
That's we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
continue with
oh,
funny.
okay.
Continue.
I have so Lewis Edmonds was hilarious. Roger I mean, Roger started out as this, he was always so charming, but he was an
Scary.
antagonist, but he just was so charming that you couldn't help
Mm-hmm.
but enjoy watching every moment that Roger was on
Mm-hmm.
screen. But I loved just his sarcastic, again, another sarcastic kind of character, these sort of witty put downs and comments and asides. I love it when he called Jeb Hawks a cheap, insufferable pig. just this insult where he would get so steamed about stuff. He would get so when he would get mad and yell at Elizabeth, he just gets so upset about stuff, and it was so funny when he would get like angry like that, and just always with the brandy all the time with this.
Yeah.
When if you can't find Roger, he's at the decanter pouring himself a brandy. And by the same token, Edward, there was one moment that just cracked me up. It was when Count Patofi and Quentin switched bodies,
Mm-hmm.
and Quentin in Count Patofi's body was talking to Edward, and Edward is pouring himself a brandy, and Quentin in the body of Count Patofi says, "I am Quentin," and Edward just stops and goes, "Hmm." He just goes, "Hmm." That's all he does. He doesn't really respond to it. He just like goes,
Uh,
"Hmm." He doesn't, it's just
yeah.
one little sound that he makes that is so funny. And just the expression on Lewis
Sure.
Edmonds' face that he is this incredulous, like, you're insane kind of like I am talking to an insane person,
Mm-hmm.
but I am not going to react to it. It's just so funny. It's a great scene. But
Yes,
Lewis Edmonds is great, but he could play such great tragedy as well.
he
I mean,
could.
Joshua, the scene with
Oh, that was
Joshua
so tragic,
and
and what a,
Barnabas,
a
and
change in character.
yeah,
How
yeah,
he becomes sentimental
sure.
in facing death,
Oh yeah,
as
yeah,
opposed to being sentimental in life
yeah,
with the ones that he was living
right.
with. He was nasty and creepy and then of course people say I don't go to funerals because I was with them when they were alive. I lived with them living. I don't need to talk about them when they're dead. He didn't get that. And a
Yeah,
lot of people suffered because of him. And then of course the cruelest thing, was chaining him up in the car. That was very
Yeah.
cruel
Sure.
to do that.
Yeah.
And I can't do it. I can't do it. Well,
Yeah.
do it. You
Right.
know?
Yeah. No,
So
but he was, I mean, just very different character. And when he was
yeah.
Daniel too, when he was Daniel Collins and the scene with Gabriel, he, again, it's a very different performance, not funny
Yeah.
at all. I mean, it was great, but but as Roger and sometimes as Edward too, there were like funny moments that were
Mhm.
really fun to watch. Other characters, Mrs. Johnson cracks me up.
Oh, she was great. Yeah.
Just her asides, like nobody around here picks anything up. Nobody picks up anything around here. Like picking up the coat off the floor, or like making comments about Sheriff Patterson's weight. I mean, it's just like so rude. Like, but judging by the size of him, he hasn't missed it, wouldn't skip lunch or some comment like that, or the mayonnaise at she was bragging about how she makes her own mayonnaise and complaining about the mayonnaise at the Collinsport
Yeah.
Inn that they don't make their own mayonnaise. Just
Yeah.
like,
Is it fresh? Is it
is it
fresh?
fresh? Yeah.
I only eat healthy foods, and
Yeah.
this doesn't look fresh to me.
Yeah, yeah. And just always like her gripes about things at Collinwood and her asides
Mhm.
and things that she cracks me up. Uh, I love Mrs. Johnson. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, Nicholas could sometimes crack me up too. Again, that kind of witty, urbane humor that Dark Shadows
Mhm.
writers were so good at writing for characters like Nicholas
Mhm.
Blair. Like I love it when he comes back and he sees him and Angelique see each other again for the first time during the Leviathans storyline. And once he recovers himself after the initial shock, comes up behind her and smiles and says, "At the risk of sounding banal, it's a small world, isn't it?" Like I love.
But
I
no.
just love, like he just that big grin on his face, and she's just, she's so aggravated that he's there. Okay, and then I'll wrap it up with Jason McGuire. Sometimes would crack me up too. I just like with his act with a witty, like just he could be again that kind of charming snake, the smiling
Right.
snake, Jason McGuire. He could be amusing as
Right.
well or entertaining. But
Right.
those were mine. My and I'm sure I'll think of more when we wrap up. But any others come to mind for you?
Well, you mentioned Jason McGuire and John Carlin and Dennis Patrick. John said that Dennis would crack him up.
Yes.
He said, in order for me to stop laughing, I would bite my cheek. I'd bite just so I wouldn't crack up, start laughing because he was so funny. And so I guess they had some kind of a like because Dennis Patrick was a very funny, jovial
Yeah,
man, and he told some little risque body jokes and stuff. But that's how he was a real nice guy, and he died so tragically
I know.
in a
Yeah,
fire.
yeah.
And his dog died too. And I guess he was
Oh,
smoking and this is in the Hollywood Hills. And this guy was another very, very nice man. No filter,
yeah.
no filter, but funny
Yeah.
but I don't know more of the funny things about the show. You mentioned Louis Edmonds. Oh, I want to visit my incest, just
Oh, well,
incest.
yeah.
My anytime he made a blooper, he would say something to get himself out of
He
it.
was fantastic at
Oh, he
recovering.
did that rather
There
than
was
just
another
go.
one where he said he drove it
Yes,
was 100 miles. It was supposed to be like 10 miles, like 100 miles. It felt like 100 miles. He was really good at recovering from
yeah, he
from that.
did that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So I think that's. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure there's more we're going to think of later.
yeah.
Well, Aristide's hair, that
Oh,
was this
Aristide.
giant
Yeah, yeah.
football hair.
Aristide was.
Everybody had a wig. Poor Lisa Richards. Did she ever do a scene where she didn't have a wig? I mean, she had Sabrina Stewart, she had
Yeah,
powder in her hair. Then
yeah.
when she's normal, there's a wig. And then when she's Sabrina in the parallel time, she's got this wig. It's like, what do these young ladies not? Is their hair so bad that they can't put them in? And the false eyelashes, everybody sleeps in their false eyelashes, and everybody's bed sheets are bright blue or something. The only and the Afghan the little knitted quilt
Oh, yeah.
that
The
matched
yeah
every
the
time period.
Collinsport
It,
Afghan. It shows up
yeah,
everywhere.
of course the box. that
Oh,
was
the Patofi's hand, the box for
that was in. It was a piece of furniture it was a knickknack that was there all the time. And of course, you mentioned the sherry, the brandy. All they did was drink sherry, brandy, coffee, and pie. I think that's all the thing, and sedatives. I'm going to give her a sedative. Where did Dr. Hoffman get all these sedatives? What was her? Who was her dealer? Probably was the,
See,
the
and,
guy.
and people talk about
Gave
the blue candles, which never that never
blue candles,
that never bothered that never like even registered for me because like we always had different color candles around the house. My mom would decorate, or my grandmother would. A lot of times there were blue candles, so it never really registered for me that there was anything. And sometimes on Dark Shadows they had red candles or white candles. So, but a lot of times it was blue. But it didn't really occur to me that it was anything unusual about that. But I do see a lot of people commenting about the blue candles.
Mhm. And no lock on the front door. No
No,
lock on the
anybody
front
can
door.
just come in and out.
Yeah, just walk in and there's what do you do? Who are you? What are you doing here? Oh,
But
I just came in.
yeah, a lot of fun things. I'm sure we'll think of more when we're done here. But anyway,
Sure.
Richard, it was great having you back on. Thanks for visiting with me. And we're talking about some of the funniest characters in Dark Shadows and revisiting some of your funniest festival moments as well. And I look forward to seeing you at the 60th anniversary festival or event. I guess it's not listed as a festival. I don't know why, but it's event, I guess.
Who knows? Soiree.
Soiree. Oh, I like that. The
Orgy
60th.
of love. Who knows? What I don't know what it's going to be.
Whatever you want to
Whatever you
call it.
want to call it.
Whatever
We
it
should have a
is.
contest. Please name the Dark Shadows event. What do you think it should be called? The Dark Shadows, whatever. They should give a prize for that.
We should. That's right. We should have a. We should have a. That's a good idea. Name the
Name
event.
festival.
All right, Richard. Thank you so much, and definitely check out Richard's Austin Powers impersonator Instagram. And if you wanna book him for an Austin Powers themed performance or event, drop him a line because you will not be disappointed. Check out his social media and you can watch some video clips and talk about funny. You'll have some good times watching those clips for sure. So thank you again, Richard, and everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure with you. You're always a delight, and it was so nice to see you at the last event. And
thank
yes,
you.
I'm so happy that you are involved, behind the scenes.
Oh,
Because
well,
that's
not
a
really.
good
I'm
choice.
just.
Well, no, that's being involved behind it. I mean, this is if you're on this side of this, yeah, that was somebody did good.
Well, thank you.
I'm saying it incorrectly, but somebody did good. That was a good decision. So,
Well, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you there. We're going to have a good time. It's going to be the last big Dark Shadows official event or festival or whatever you want to call it. I am really looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and everyone. If you can make it out, definitely you don't want to miss it because this is the last hurrah, folks. So hopefully you can make it out. And thank you for listening to the podcast. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching the YouTube version of this. And if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, please be sure to rate it. And if you have the option to review it, particularly on Apple Podcasts, I would really appreciate you doing that because that does help the podcast to reach more fans of Dark Shadows. So get the word out, spread it like the dream curse. Thank you for listening.
Terror at Collinwood is a Penny Dreadful production.